You're watching TAG TV.
Good evening. Welcome to South Asia Newsline. I'm Lipakshi Khurana. Here are the top stories we're tracking for you on Tuesday, the 17th of April. Indian Prime Minister meets a Swedish counterpart in Stockholm to boost bilateral ties. Afghan security forces warn Pakistan against cross-border incursions. And bomb goes off outside Indian consulate office in Nepal. No casualties reported. Now for all the details. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Friday held talks with his Swedish counterpart in Stockholm to boost bilateral ties between the two nations. He also called on Sweden's king as part of the first bilateral visit by an Indian premier to the Nordic nation in 30 years.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi met his Swedish counterpart Stefan Löfven and Sweden's king on Tuesday as part of the first bilateral visit by an Indian premier to the Nordic nation in 30 years. Prime Minister Modi arrived in Swedish capital Stockholm late on Monday evening, aiming to strengthen bilateral ties and discussing issues including environment, innovation, skill development and jobs for growth. He was later scheduled to attend the India-Nordic Summit at Stockholm University to highlight the shared values and mutual prosperity among the two nations. Prime Minister Modi's visit to Sweden will be followed by his meeting with his British counterpart Theresa May in United Kingdom, where he will also attend the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting. After his visit to the UK, he is expected to meet German Chancellor Angela Merkel in Berlin for a brief period of time.
Moving on, locals in Pakistan-administered Kashmir continue to hold protests to demand justice for an activist killed in police firing last month. The activist was killed during an anti-Pakistan protest over using of civilians in the illegally occupied region as human shields during cross-border firing.
Residents in Pakistan-administered Kashmir continue to hold protests to demand justice for Jammu Kashmir Liberation Front or JKLF activist Naeem Butt, who was killed in police firing on March 16. The protesters have been demanding an impartial judicial probe into the firing on a peaceful protest that took place near the border and to take action against the policeman who killed Butt.
इसी वाले से उसको लेके चलेंगे, लेकिन हम सारे लोग जस्टिस फॉर नाइम कमेटी के हवाले से इन दो ये जो चार किरदार हैं, जो डीसीएसपी हैं, जो तहसीलदार और एसडीएम हैं, जो पुलिस के एहलकार हैं, हम उनकी सजाओं तक जस्टिस फॉर नाइम कमेटी के प्लेटफॉर्म पे मुस्तैद हैं.
On March 16, thousands of people had joined march against the Pakistan Army on the call of JKLF to express solidarity with people suffering from a cross-border shelling. They also protested against police and army brutality, blaming Islamabad for ceasefire violations and deliberately provoking India for cross-border firing. They also blamed the Pakistan Army for using civilians as human shields.
In news from Afghanistan, Afghan security officials on Monday warned Pakistan against carrying out any further action along the international border between both the countries. The remarks by the military were made after delegations from both the sides met on Monday to discuss the recent incidents of Sunday's attack by Pakistan in Khost province and Monday's clashes in Paktia province.
Afghan security officials on Monday warned Pakistan against carrying out any further action along Turan Line, the international border between Pakistan and Afghanistan, and said additional hostile moves would have serious repercussions. Speaking at a joint press conference with Pakistani military officials in Eastern Khost province, the officials said the Afghan people will not tolerate hostile action by Pakistan against their country. This comes after delegations from both sides met on Monday to discuss the recent incidents of Sunday's attack by Pakistan in Khost province and Monday's clashes in Paktia province. Meanwhile, Pakistani military officials said that war is not a solution, suggesting a ceasefire was needed in the area. Clashes between Khost residents and Pakistani military personnel broke out in the district when Pakistani troops tried to take control of an Afghan checkpost. According to reports, at least 3 Pakistani soldiers were killed during the skirmish and 3 soldiers were arrested by the Afghan security forces.
More news from Afghanistan. Afghanistan's Independent Election Commission on Monday said there has been a significant increase in the number of people getting themselves registered at voter registration centres across the country. Afghanistan is scheduled to hold its parliamentary and district council polls in October this year.
The Independent Election Commission of Afghanistan or IEC on Monday said there has been a significant increase in the number of people making their way to voter registration centres across the country. IEC Commissioner Saeed Hafiz Hashmi said in the first 2 days following the launch of the process, just over 12,000 people registered, of which 25% were women.
در حدود بالاتر از 12,000 نفر ثبت نام کرده که 25% خانم هست.
Afghan Parliament Speaker Faisal Hedi Muslimyar, who visited a registration centre in Kabul on Monday, said the success of legitimate and fair elections was rooted in the participation of the people. The IEC has so far established 1,419 voter registration centres across the country and has estimated the cost of the voter registration process will be $30 million. The poll body and the government have earmarked 7,300 polling centres across Afghanistan for the polls to be held in October.
Moving on to news from Nepal, Nepal's Foreign Minister Pradeep Kumar Gayawali on Monday claimed that the recent visit of Nepalese Premier KP Sharma Oli has helped in strengthening diplomatic relations with India. Gayawali, who made the remarks during a press meet, is also scheduled to visit China to boost his country's relations with its second close neighbour.
Nepal's Foreign Minister Pradeep Kumar Gayawali on Monday claimed that the recent visit of Premier KP Sharma Oli has helped in strengthening relations with India. While addressing a press meet, Gayawali said that the visit has resulted in mutual trust, understanding and balance which Nepal always wanted. He further claimed that both the Prime Ministers held clear and transparent dialogues on the issues pertaining the interest and the demands of the time during the trip.
छिमेकी मित्र राष्ट्र भारतको राजकीय भ्रमण सम्पन्न गर्नुभएको छ। धेरै हिसाबले यो भ्रमण मौलिक, भिन्न र सफल रहेको कुरा यहाँहरूलाई अवगत नै छ। भ्रमणले आपसी विश्वासलाई मजबुत बनाउन सहयोग पुर्याएको छ। छिमेकीहरूसँग आपसी विश्वास, समानता, सम्मान एवं पारस्परिक लाभका आधारमा मर्यादित, सन्तुलित र व्यवस्थित सम्बन्ध कायम गर्ने दिशामा यो भ्रमण सफल रहेको छ।
Nepal's Premier Oli went on a 3-day state visit to India early this month to boost bilateral relations with its neighbour. Oli, since he joined the office, was expected to maintain and boost relations with Nepal's neighbouring countries, mainly India and China.
More news from Nepal. A bomb went off outside an Indian consulate office in Nepal's Biratnagar, nearly 4 miles from the India-Nepal border on Monday night. There was no one in the office during the explosion, reports suggest. Morang District Superintendent of Police Arun Kumar said the blast caused minor damage to the compound wall towards the back of the office building complex. He said the police is further investigating the case. For now, the investigating officials said they suspected the involvement of Netra Bikram Chand's Communist Party of Nepal, which had called a general protest in Biratnagar on Monday. The office was set up during the floods in Nepal and India's Bihar province in 2017. Commuters from Pakistan-administered Kashmir, while making a visit to India through a friendly bus service on Monday, appealed to Islamabad to give speedy clearance to the visas of their Indian counterparts. The bus service was launched in 2006 to facilitate visits by Indian and Pakistani citizens who have relatives in both sides of Kashmir.
Civilians from Pakistan-administered Kashmir who came to India through a friendly bus service appealed Islamabad to give speedy clearance to the visas of Indians on Monday. The Poonch Travel Code bus service was launched in 2006 to facilitate visits by Indian and Pakistani citizens who have relatives in both sides of Kashmir. During the trip, the visitors rejoiced the memories of their ancestors who used to roam in the villages before India-Pakistan partition.
तो बड़ी खुशी से बड़े शौक से हम आए यहाँ पे कि अपने रिश्तेदारों से अपनी जगहों में देखेंगे जो हमारे बावजदाद की जगह हैं यहाँ से गुजर के गए खेले कूदे हैं तो हम तो बड़े शौक से वहाँ से आते हैं हमारे बंदे बहुत ज़्यादा आ रहे हैं यहाँ पे
हुकूमत से हम यही अपील कर रहे हैं कि फार्म जल्द से जल्द क्लियर किया जाए ताकि हिंदुस्तान के यहाँ के लोग हमारे जो रिलेटिव हैं वो भी वहाँ जा सके
People bid a teary farewell to their relatives living in India's northern Jammu and Kashmir province after the visit. A part of the erstwhile princely province of India's Jammu and Kashmir, Pakistan-administered Kashmir was illegally annexed by Pakistan over 6 decades back.
Tibetan spiritual leader, the Dalai Lama, interacted with devotees from across the globe in India's northern hill town of Dharamshala on Monday. Devotees expressed their happiness over being able to have a glimpse of the spiritual leader and listen to his teachings.
Tibetan spiritual leader, the Dalai Lama, interacted with devotees from across the globe in India's northern hill town of Dharamshala on Monday. Over 2,000 devotees, including some from India, converged at the main Buddhist temple in the Himalayan hill town to get a glimpse of the Dalai Lama and to listen to his teachings. Devotees expressed their happiness at being able to see the Dalai Lama.
It was fantastic. Every time if I get the chance to meet the Dalai Lama, that made me so happy and so touching.
It's very big happy to see Dalai Lama. This is my children and they happy to see Dalai Lama too because it's a very important person in the world for peace.
The Dalai Lama fled into exile in India in 1959 from Lhasa after an abortive uprising against Chinese rule. He has since lived mostly in Dharamshala in India's northern province of Himachal Pradesh.
A 9-year-old boy in India's northern Jammu and Kashmir province has invented a word counting pen. The pen keeps track of the number of words while one writes.
Muzaffar, a 9-year-old boy from India's northern Jammu and Kashmir province, has invented a pen that keeps a track of the number of words while one writes. The idea struck him after he lost 2 marks in an exam as one of his answers fell short of the words prescribed for word count. The pen has a small casing and a tiny LCD screen attached to its rear which displays the word count as the user writes.
जब मैं एग्ज़ाम को जा रहा था तभी मुझे 25 रोज आए थे मैंने पढ़ नहीं रखी टीचर ने मुझे 2 मार्क्स कम दिए मैंने टीचर को पूछा मुझे 2 मार्क्स कम क्यों दिए बोला तुम्हें तो 25 रोज आते तुमने तो 20 लिख दिए इसलिए मैंने सोचा कैसा पेन बना जाए जो लिखते लिखते काउंट भी करे.
The young inventor has been honored by Indian President Ramnath Kovind for his creative innovation. He is working with the National Innovation Foundation or NIF, an autonomous body under the federal government's Department of Science and Technology to take this initiative forward. The pen is expected to be commercially available in May.
Well, that's the way it was in South Asia this evening. Before we conclude, the top stories once again. Indian Prime Minister meets a Swedish counterpart in Stockholm to boost bilateral ties. Afghan security forces warn Pakistan against cross-border incursions. And bomb goes off outside Indian consulate office in Nepal. No casualties reported. Now our viewers can watch the show on SouthAsiaNewsline.com. You can also visit us on Facebook.com/SAsiaNewsline and follow us on Twitter @SAsiaNewsline. That's all in tonight's edition. We'll see you same time tomorrow. Good night.
You're watching TAG TV.